you ever find yourself caught in the loop of searching for the next thing that will finally make everything better? Maybe you wake up with that familiar knot in your stomach, your chest tight with anxiety before your feet have even touched the ground. The weight of the day ahead presses down on you like a heavy blanket, making it hard to breathe. You drag yourself out of bed and shuffle to the bathroom, splashing cold water on your face, hoping it will wash away the heaviness clinging to you like a second skin. But it doesn't. You glance in the mirror and the reflection that stares back feels distant, disconnected, trapped by the haunting sense that you're not living up to your true potential. And so you start to think, maybe if I just find the right course, the right teacher, the right guru, then I'll finally get it right. If any of that sounds familiar, this story is for you. I've walked that path myself, waking up feeling like I'm falling short before the day's even begun. Like I'm just going through the motions, unable to shake off that sense that something is holding me back from the life I'm meant to live. But here's the thing. Many of us search for answers outside of ourselves, looking for a guru or a guide to show us the way. We think that transformation can only come from some grand external source. But what if the most profound teachings come not from a guru, but from life itself? What if life is the guru? What if the simple, everyday moments we often overlook are actually the key to unlocking our deepest potential? By the end of this episode, you'll understand how even the simplest, most mundane tasks can become powerful catalysts for personal transformation. You'll realize that you can shift your own perspective, recognizing that life's everyday moments often hold the keys to uncovering your deepest fears and the patterns that keep you stuck. Through my story, you'll see how life itself is constantly offering you opportunities for growth, guiding you toward your true potential without the need for an external guru. I'm your host, Nathan Maingard, and welcome back to We Are Already Free, the podcast where misfits from the mainstream stop worrying how bad it all is out there and instead get inspired and informed so they can focus on being the change and finding their tribe and living a beautiful life together. When you hear the words, "we are already free," what comes up for you?
Acceptance.
Change.
A shift in awareness.
Human beings are so powerful. Everything is love behind it.
Breaking the chains of your own mind.
That which remains.
Nature.
Getting out of the matrix.
We're sitting on the treasure and it's already unlocked.
You are a walking map.
Have always been free.
You are always free. Already free.
We are already free.
Okay, let's get into it. Join me all the way back in 2010. I found myself in Northern California, staying with some new friends. My journey there was connected with a woman I was infatuated with. Let's call her Kate. You can hear the full story about that whole adventure on episode 65 of the podcast, but suffice it to say she was unavailable and I was struggling. You know how it goes. One day, Kate was preparing lunch for the group, and I jumped at the chance to be her helper, any excuse to be close to her. She was one of those wonderful people. You know the kind, right? The kind that draws you in with their clarity, their integrity, their passion. Kate was this tall, curly, black-haired, wild woman, feminine, soft, and yet she embodied a maturity, a solid groundedness that I couldn't help but be drawn to. I think because I lacked that own embodiment and groundedness myself at that time. So there we were in the kitchen. I turned to her and I said, "Kate, I feel like you can teach me things I need to learn." I wanted to impress her, to show her my eagerness to grow. She laughed softly. "Brother, I'm no teacher. I'm still trying to learn how to be in this life myself." And then she showed me how she wanted the potatoes cut for the meal. Simple enough, right? But when she came back to check on my progress, she frowned at the potatoes. "That's not how I asked you to cut them." My heart dropped. I had wanted so badly to impress her, to get it right, to earn her admiration, and I had failed. It sounds trivial now, doesn't it? But that's the point. Life is always teaching us, placing the right people and experiences in our path to support our transformation if we're open to it. Even as my heart sank, I forced a smile. "No worries, Kate, I'll cut the potatoes again." Kate patiently showed me how to cut them once more. I nodded, concentrating hard, determined not to mess up this time. But when I finished again, she looked at the potatoes and said, "That's still not the way I showed you." Something inside me cracked. My hands started to shake and my throat tightened. I felt the hot, embarrassing sting of tears rising, trying to break through. She noticed my distress and asked gently, "What were you thinking about while you were cutting the potatoes?" "Not fucking up," I blurted out, my voice shaking with emotion, and Kate looked into my eyes, really seeing me. There was no judgment in her gaze, just a quiet, profound witnessing. She wasn't just looking at me, she was really seeing me. "What's that, brother?" she asked softly, her eyes holding mine, seeing deeply into all of my being. And that's when it hit me, a tidal wave of clarity crashing over me, leaving me shivering with insight. I realized that I had spent my entire life terrified of failure. As a child, I'd internalized a narrative that was slowly strangling my life force like a parasitic vine choking a beautiful spring. Fear of mistakes, fear of getting it wrong, fear of being left behind, fear of not being enough. They were all there, coiled around my heart. And the more I focused on these fears, the more they were manifesting in my life. In that moment, with Kate witnessing me without judgment, I couldn't hide it anymore. The floodgates opened. I went outside to the veggie garden, sat down and wept. The scent of freshly turned earth filled my senses, and the rustling leaves whispered a gentle comfort. I wept for the little boy who wasn't kept safe by his parents. I wept for the man I had become. I wept for my fear, my heart bleeding salty tears with every sob. And then, quite suddenly, I felt free. More free than I'd ever felt. I had met a hidden part of myself, an old pattern that had once served to protect me, but was now destroying my life as it continued to loop. In witnessing, releasing, and realizing, I was given the gift of transformation. I'm eternally grateful to Kate for her willingness to see me, to reflect what she saw without judgment. In doing so, she helped me begin healing a lifelong wound that had been festering for far too long. And so, my dear listener, here's the truth hidden in plain sight. Life is your teacher. If you've ever felt trapped by your own fears, unable to move forward because of old patterns that no longer serve you, know that you are not alone. But here's the thing. Unfortunately, we haven't been taught to be good students of life. Society prioritizes drama, teaching us how to be victims or victors or rescuers. We're taught to conquer the external world rather than aligning with it as an ally. Yet true transformation happens when we start seeing life as a constant teacher, guiding us to confront our deepest fears and heal our oldest wounds. So I ask you, how do you support the different parts of yourself in being known? What old patterns are you running? Patterns that once kept you safe but are now keeping you stuck, stagnant, and unable to live your life fully and truly. You don't have to do this alone. I'm here. It's my greatest honor to witness you in your fullness of being. If any of this resonates with you, if you're ready to take the next step in your own journey, please reach out. Let's explore together how you can start aligning with life's lessons rather than resisting them. My work as a transformational guide is not to tell you how to do things, it's to support you in asking the questions of yourself so that you can be witnessed. All of you can be witnessed. You deserve it. So please reach out to me, reach out in the show notes, connect with me. I would so love to support you in your own journey of rediscovering the teacher that you already are, the life that is already here, wanting to support you in unfolding in the fullness of yourself. Thank you for your time. It's been an absolute pleasure to share this solo personal episode of the We Are Already Free podcast, and we'll be back with another amazing episode next week. Until then, please remember, we are already free.